Dre's perception of what it means to be a black man in 2016 gets checked. And Bo wants to spend more time with the kids before the new baby comes, and she gets advice from the worst place, Pops. Hey guys, stick around because we are in episode 4 of the Blackish After Show.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Come on, you're not going to dance?
I think we want two different vibes here.
Come on, no, you got to dance.
It's called flexing, so you got to flex. You got to look
It's
smooth,
flexing.
you know? I guess we all flex differently.
Yeah?
Wait, no, flex means like you showing your swag. Like not actually flexing.
Oh, it's not
So
this?
show us your swag.
Oh, my swag. All right, here we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, that's my swag.
Man.
Hey, guys, what's up? What's up?
What's up?
We are in season 4 now. I'm sorry, season 3, episode 4 of Blackish. My name is Stacey Newsome, and guys, welcome. You can join me on Twitter and on Instagram at the Stacey Newsome. That's STACEY Newsome. And I am joined by my co-host over here. I like to call him the Renaissance Man. Who are you?
You're gonna have to explain to me what that means one day, off camera though.
Okay.
I'm DAngelo. Follow me at DAngelo TV on Twitter. Follow me at DAngelo on Instagram. My mom's a creative one, and I have to spell it every time. It's DEANJILO. Check the spelling on that. Make sure you're spelling it right. Let's get it with the show, though.
Awesome. Hey, guys, and while you're watching, I'm still dabbing. Okay, music's gone. While you're watching and interacting with us tonight, make sure you hashtag us at ABTV Blackish. And don't forget to like us and subscribe on any of the platforms available to follow us. You can download us on iTunes. You can watch us on YouTube and Facebook. And just go to our website if you don't want to do that at AfterBuzzTV.com. Awesome. So tonight's episode didn't get dark like I thought it was going to get. I was like, ooh.
That title was that.
Yeah,
it was getting us attention.
What is the title?
Who's Afraid of the Big Black Man?
Yes, I'm like, oh, this is going to get dark tonight.
When you came in, I was like, oh, I'm excited. I want to see what they're going to do with this episode.
But they kept it light, as Blackish tends to do.
Yeah.
You got to keep the serious issues levitated with comedy, which I really like about this show a lot. But what I took away from this show tonight is that Dre feels like he's losing his identity as a black man in our pseudo post-racial 2016.
Post-racial, that's controversial in
itself.
itself.
It is controversial. What did you think about him just kind of like maybe his opinions being a little dated, perhaps?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's interesting. It's definitely, I feel like, a battle as an African-American man that you have to have, especially when you're I'm similar, and my work environment is like predominantly white, so it's just kind of like you gotta read off of people in different ways, and so I think it was interesting. They touched on a lot of the different angles and contradictions. It was some really good scenes that I can't wait to get into.
Yes, so let's get started. We're introduced to this whole dilemma by Dre in his workplace when the elevator doors open. There's a little white girl there, and instead of him stepping onto the elevator to figure out why is this 3-year-old white child by herself, he takes a step back and lets the elevator doors close. And then, of course, he's derided by his white coworkers for being heartless. And then it turns out Charlie does the exact same thing, and so does their assistant.
Well, that's interesting because I mean, I would draw a line at like their generation, like, and I would maybe 30s, 40s, and then like our generation. I'm considered a millennial. I definitely in that situation would have tried to, like, there wouldn't have been a second guess in my brain. Like, I would have tried to help. I would have tried to do something. And like save the little white baby, right? Because she's by herself.
Right.
But I do think that's a reality. Like maybe my father, like in that situation, he's like 50, and he probably maybe would have had to thought about, okay, how would I go about doing this if I did it, like type situation.
Because as Dre mentioned, in his mind, black people don't have the luxury, or black men don't have the luxury of being helpful. And so, like, that's how Dre lives his life.
Right. He
does not have the luxury of, like, letting his guard down. He's always guarded.
Right. And there's a lot of truth to that. You know, I mean, the whole episode kind of touched on, all right, well, you know, I mean, the ending showed us that, okay, it's not like a post-racial society based on the, I don't want to jump too far ahead, but also that his perspective was a little dated. The elevator scene was like a really good scene when the white lady came on and it was like 3 black guys on the elevator, and she was saying her credit. I mean, obviously their humor is really extreme, so she's saying her credit card, and like, her money's out.
Money's
like
hanging out in her
that's
purse.
street smarts 101. You can't, like, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah. So that was really interesting.
It sure is.
Yeah.
So I feel like, at least for myself, I grew up in Alabama, right? And I grew up in the 80s. And at that point in the 80s, Alabama was more progressive than it gets credit for. So I feel like I grew up kind of definitely not thinking the way my grandparents thought. They raised me. I think I grew up maybe in a bit of a bubble, you know, feeling like, you know, oh, I'm not going to get targeted just because I'm black. I just lived life when I was growing up, you know, and that's kind of how I've lived my life no matter where I've been. Just like, oh, you know, the cops will, you know, it wouldn't have crossed my mind until recent that, oh, I could get shot by the cops because I'm black, you know, just, and it's just our current climate has made me rethink, you know, I guess how I live life. And in a way, I feel like it's imposed a sense of like, guardedness on me that I didn't used to have, you know, and it's made me, I won't say definitely not prejudiced, but definitely, I guess, a little more defensive, like, oh, because I'm black, you know, like that never used to, like,
what's in the back of their head and why they,
like that never used to cross my mind or like escape from my lips. Oh, that's happening because I'm black, and now it's like it's always in my mind now because of our current climate. So I find it interesting that, you know, in certain aspects we've gone backwards.
That's very interesting. I would say I'm like the complete opposite. I grew up in like the city from DC, and predominantly African American, like high school, and like DC was or is predominantly African American. So it's just like some interactions. I didn't have to have those interactions until I went to school and went to Pepperdine, and I came out here in LA, and I had to learn. So I think I came in really guarded and became less guarded, like maybe a little bit closer to Dre's perspective, and just like always assuming the worst and then learning, okay, maybe not everything, but there's still a reality to it. So finding that balance, I thought was really interesting.
That's so funny because I've definitely been called a Pollyanna before. Like, oh, you're so Pollyanna. You live in a bubble. And I'm like, you mean I'm not racist? You know?
Yeah, it's all relative for sure.
All right, so, I find it interesting that Dre and his family live in Sherman Oaks. I live in Sherman Oaks, and I have never seen Dre driving around my neighborhood.
So many LA references, right? But that's the way I view Sherman Oaks too. Well, depending on what part of Sherman Oaks you're talking about.
Well, I live in an apartment complex. But I live very near Ventura Boulevard, like where those nice houses are. But I don't live in one of those nice houses. I live in a crummy apartment complex.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
All right, so I'm going to pose this question to you. Do you feel like from this episode that Dre is racist or he's just fearful?
Both.
Yeah.
I don't want to pick. Well, I don't want to say racist. Racist. I've had this conversation a lot, but
and the reason I ask that is because he goes out of his way not to interact with people who are not of color.
Yeah, that was interesting. Well, I think I draw a line between the definition of racism and prejudice. I know African Americans are like, that's definitely a thing, but like the definition of racism I'd look at as like hatred. You know what I mean? Prejudice is bias. He's definitely biased, and he has like some of his motivations do seem like to come out of hatred. Maybe the waving thing was one, but like a lot of the other stuff is guarded because it's like I'm trying to make sure that I am not targeted. You know what I mean?
Right.
Fearful, like the police officer saying he went through all the scenarios of how he could communicate these different things. Yeah. And his best solution was, let me run. Let me get up out of here. And you know what? I can really relate to that. It's like, man, I don't want to be here right in this moment.
But you and I both were like, don't get out of the car.
Well, in real life, he would have got shot. Like, I don't know no police officer that would have just like watched him run away and he would have got away. But I mean, that's TV for you. But yeah, it was interesting. How about you? What about yourself?
Oh, so I feel like he's a touch of both. I definitely, you know, the fearful is definitely there, but I didn't realize that maybe he was a touch racist until it was, you know, it revealed in this episode that he doesn't. He goes out of his way not to interact with white people except for the ones he has to, and that's in his workplace. And we know how whack they are.
Right. And maybe one influences the other. Maybe he is racist because of his fear.
Yeah, perhaps. The thing I find funny is that the people he does interact with, the white people he does interact with, are like very well-meaning white people. people, they, like in his office, like they're well-meaning. They
The
try
boss
to be
is well-meaning.
He tries to be down. He just tells it like it is. I don't think he tries to be one way or the other. I think he just says what's on his mind.
I feel like he's the white executive perspective in like without a filter in the world.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know if I consider that well-meaning, but I get you. The other guy maybe is well-meaning.
Yeah.
But I mean, like some of the stuff he says is just off the wall. Him and Charlie are just complete polar opposites. So it's really fascinating to always see them in the same room.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So we come to a resolution in 20 minutes or less, of course, with Dre trying to reach out to the other side, trying to like adjust maybe his mindset. So he, instead of being what he thinks people expect him to be, like wearing the new sneaks every day, he decides he's going to wear the same pair of shoes maybe twice in a row, 3 times in a row.
Baby steps.
Yeah, baby steps. Baby steps. He goes to an HOA meeting, which Junior already attends on the regular. I found that very funny.
Yeah, that was a good little spin.
And so he's getting to know his neighbors, and that's how he ends up in the car with Johan and Junior and their white neighbor who's passed out. And that's how they get into that running from the cops thing.
Right.
So what did you think about the whole, him interacting with his neighbors on a level that he'd never interacted before?
Well, I would say once you do get past the point of like, okay, not every white person is racist, which if I broke it down to a very basic level, saying something like that, and like once you break that thought, you realize that people are layered and everyone has a prejudice. You know what I mean? And the statement about the Persian, I thought was like a good example of that. And I mean, it's very blurred. You can say that maybe she was well-intended in the way she wasn't.
Or maybe she just thought it was tacky.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. But her line was, it was too Persian.
Yeah.
And she looked at him to see if it was okay for him to say that, which I thought was very, especially if you are the only African-American in the room, you're the token, you're speaking for everyone. So, there's a pressure there for him to fall in line with it, you know what I mean?
Right.
And maybe he said that the aesthetics is a little bit off, you know what I mean? So he agreed. But it was just interesting dynamic. It's just so many layers to that. There's no line. You can't say, oh, all white people aren't racist. All white people are racist. It's every individual.
Of course. And it's like we all, like you said, we all have our biases that comes out in ways that we're probably not even aware of on a daily basis, All right, so the 2 storylines intersect between what's going on with Dre and what's going on with Rainbow. He comes home after running from the cops, and she is trying to win the love or the affection of her children based on the advice she's getting from Pops.
And I'm telling you, I disagree. I think he was the perfect person to go through in this situation.
Yes. Okay.
So
So he basically tells Bo, he gives her some pimp advice, basically, some pimp moves. And he says the way for her to win the affection of her children, because she's not cool. Bo's not cool. She's she's nerdy, she's kind of geeky.
Yeah.
I definitely identify with her, okay? If I were a named actor, I would probably have been cast in that role, I'm just saying, because I totally identify with her. She's not cool. And so Pops is like, you got to put some pimp moves on them. You got to make them wait. Make them jealous. And we saw how that worked out in this scenario.
it worked.
It did.
Hey, I mean, look, all right, when it comes to talking to some females, not all females are like this, there's definitely a need to do that, you know what I mean? So
Okay, what's your game? You gotta tell me, what is your game?
I don't have a game. I'm genuinely...
You are Renaissance man. You have a game. What is your game?
No, I do not. I am myself. That's my game.
That
It works, it doesn't. A lot of times it don't.
Well, then what is
Sometimes it
yourself?
does.
Tell me, what is yourself?
I'm a nice guy. I have a Twitter at DAngelo TV. Follow me if you want any more information. You want to see what I'm about.
Right.
No, I don't know. I really don't know how to answer that question because it depends on how you vibe with the person in general. But that's to say that a lot of guys are premature, premeditated in how they go about doing things, and Pops obviously is the extreme, right? He has a method to his madness, and he takes pride in the fact that he's broken girls, females' heart and stuff like that.
Right.
I can't say I'm on that side of the things, but just the aspect of patience being a virtue and being very beneficial. I can definitely agree with that, and it worked in this situation with the kids too.
Well, let me tell you, being on the other side of the gender line, this also works with men, okay?
Yeah.
Because traditionally, myself, I've always been the one to make the first move. You know, ask a guy for a phone number. You know, ask a guy out. And my friend, who is like, she's the master of getting guys to like pine for her. She's like, no, you can't do that. She basically gave me this advice: you got to make them wait. They tweet you, don't tweet them right back. You know, if they text you, don't text them right back. She's like, sometimes I never text them back. I just make them wait.
You gotta play the game. The game, it sucks. I hate the game, right?
Game
and I'm
does
only
suck.
23, but like it's a thing without a doubt. And because like there are females who are gonna do that, and then that makes guys feel like, oh, now I have to do this, so I don't want to be sweating her. Like it's just kind of like this weird balance. It's interesting.
It's like
yeah.
you don't know, like where does the line go from being like unavailable to like, okay, I'm not even gonna bother with you.
Very fine line.
Yeah,
Thin line.
it is such a thin line.
Pop's got it though.
He does. He's got it so much that he was even serious about making them jealous by finding a new family.
He went past the line of, you know what I mean? There's the fine line and he's on the left of it.
Yes.
So. But it's funny. That was a very funny like correlation. I liked how they did that.
Yes. So what is your ultimate takeaway from this episode?
So again, I like, and then this is part of our predictions. They're gonna, you know, kind of lightly touch on these ideas.
Let's get to that. Let's get to our predictions.
These are
Let's
our
get to our predictions. Let's get to predictions. Yay!
There we go.
And now, your AfterBuzz TV.
Somebody was sleeping back there.
See, fans, we can't give our predictions without the drop.
That's
so
right.
We will wait. The drop is that important. We will wait
is.
until it comes, and then we'll give our predictions.
So go ahead.
But okay, so what was my point? Oh, so I like that they keep taking on these topics, but they do it in a Blackish way, so it's very lighthearted, which is just a really interesting balance. So I like the way they're doing it. You know, I mean, I'm on this other show, FX Atlanta, which you can tune in on Tuesdays, and they are hitting heavy topics. But man, it takes 30 to 45 minutes to break that stuff down.
Right.
And it's a comedy show, but it's just thicker.
Yeah.
Now Blackish, I feel like they really know who they are. They're like much more lighter toned in their.
And it is a sitcom. It is a sitcom. It's
it
a
feels
network
like a sitcom too. Yeah. Without the laugh track, thing, which I like. But predictions. You know, that's always hard. But I think my takeaway from the episode is that black people in general, or African Americans, there is a, like, I wouldn't say it a post-racism society, but the perspective does need to develop. Like I think Bo's speech at the end about like, if you don't act like something's different, then there won't be anything different. There that probably would be the memo for that episode.
Right.
And I really like that.
Awesome.
Yeah. I'm still thinking about my prediction. So if you got one, you got to go.
I do. I predict that, and if it doesn't happen, I'd like to see it happen. I would like for this show to deal with, if I can coin the term, black white supremacists. Like black people who don't like other black people, like black people who are racist,
like
prejudiced against other black people.
I like that a lot.
Because they're out there.
Writers, if you're listening, put that out there. I was on the Twitter page. I don't know how much time we have, but I was on the Twitter page, and actually, so the first scene where the little white girl was on the elevator, the writers tweeted out that it was influenced by someone on the team, on the cast. They were in that situation directly. Right? Now they did it, they helped, but they said it was African American man, and it was a little white girl in the elevator, and that's what influenced them wanting to do that, which I thought was fascinating.
Interesting.
Yeah. So maybe it was a big dialogue after that.
Yes, I wonder if there was dialogue in his head. It's like, should I? Of course I help, but you know.
How do I do this? So that was great.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we have wrapped up episode 4.
That's it.
And we will see you guys next week, guys. You can find me on Instagram and Twitter at the Stacey Newsome, STACEY Newsome.
And you can follow me on Twitter at DAngelo TV if you want, you know, my tips on how to get at the ladies successfully or unsuccessfully. You know, I can give y'all some insight. Tweet me. It's probably not gonna be all that helpful, to be honest. But follow me also at DAngelo on Instagram. Yeah.
Awesome. And you guys can check back in with me on Sunday nights because I host the after show for The Strain with 2 other panelists. So, guys, take it easy. We'll see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.